Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey Combs, good to be here with you on Tuesday afternoon. It is a beautiful Tuesday, April 7th, year of our Lord 2026. Good to be here with you on Facebook Live. And so if you are here with me, that means that my notification made it through the swamp of Facebook. So thank you if you show up here today or if you're watching on replay as I'm getting dialed in here. This Facebook Live originates back to 1999. It was originally a 2 o'clock afternoon call. It was a women's workshop that eventually I changed into a Golden Mastermind conference call, and then eventually became the More Heart Than Talent Mindset call for well over 18 years. And it had a large following, anywhere from 100 to 500 to 1,000 people listening in on any given Tuesday evening from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time back in the day. So Michael Kalani, you perhaps were on one of those More Heart Than Talent Mindset calls back in the day. So topic for today is old school. It's selling. S-A-L-E, sales. Highest paid profession in the world. I built my career in my first 10 years of coaching, specifically on the topic of prospecting and closing. First 10 years. So for those of you who are my coaching clients, you have two of my signature products in your back office. The original sales audio that I created was on cassette back in the day, called Power Prospecting and Power Sorting for Professionals. Then I turned it into Psychology of Prospecting, and this was the second version called Psychology of Closing. This came out in 2003. This sold over 100,000 units. This right here, over 100,000 units. This is old school. Look at this. Look how they open up back in the day. This was a 10 CD audio program. This is an antique. Yes, that is an antique. And this is back in the day. And for those of you who know who Myron Golden is, I have Myron Golden on one of my CD sets, as he shared the stage with me on many, many times. Then this is my signature course right here. If you're a coaching client, you have this in your back office. It is called The Psychology of Asking. And just like before, this product was produced in 2008. I am a very good storyteller, and I love to tell stories. I did a call for a real estate educational platform back in 2008 when this was launched, and I originally sold this for $199. And on my very first call, as I was endorsing this, I had 80 people buy this on a live conference call. So you do the math, 80 times $199, yes, that is correct. I believe that was a $16,000 night. And back then I had a Pitney Bowes machine, for those of you who understand that, in my office upstairs where my employees work. And we cranked out whatever the costs for shipping on those 80 units back in the day. So good to be here with you this afternoon. I'm going to do some old school prospecting, selling, psychology of asking. Selling is, when you break down selling, it is psychologically, it is persuasion-oriented marketing. It's the fact to communicate on command in a relaxed body. So in selling, it's important that you're not in a mixed message. So if you're in a message that's saying, I don't want you to think I'm trying to sell you something, I don't want to offend you, I don't want to make a mistake, I don't want to get in trouble. If you're in any mixed message when you're selling, your vibrational energy is confusing to the prospect because you're in fight or flight. As you learn to let go and relax, the whole purpose of selling is to be able to do this. Establish if the buyer is qualified for your product, service, benefit, and feature. So if you're in a network marketing or a direct sales business, you're selling products, benefits, and features. So that's one side of the business. And then you're also selling the dream, the good life. Jim Rohn is famous for asking the question, what constitutes the good life? I mean, that's what you want to establish. And so you are selling the dream. You're selling the money. You're selling the outcome. And you're selling the good life. Being able to operate on your terms and your time frame in a relaxed body from your home. I was introduced to a woman last night who has 2 children from her family, 3 children from her husband. There's 5. They had one together. There's 6. And she has another one on the way. There's 7. And this is a woman who achieves multiple six figures from the comfort of her home as an influencer in a top tier direct sales business. I mean, this is what can happen when you become skilled at branding, marketing, influencing, affluencing, attraction, and most importantly, closing the sale, bringing people into a business, onboarding someone into the business, and then finding out if they have a vision. And this is what you look for when you're recruiting, when you're selling the dream. When you're looking for teammates in insurance, real estate, network marketing, direct sales, to join your sales team, you're looking for people who have the ability to articulate their feelings. You're looking for people who have sales ability. You're looking for people who are open to the prospect and the possibility of being a sales professional. The people you don't want in your business are the people who say the things, that's what they say, things like, do I have to sell anything? I'm not good at sales. I'm not comfortable selling. I'm not sure if I can put myself out there. These people typically do not qualify for your time. They suck the soul out of your business. Those of you who are codependent, you drag these people around and then you wonder why they don't make it. You want to learn to let people go who do not qualify. When I was prospecting and recruiting, I conducted an interview. And if you don't qualify for it, it's just like a job interview. If you don't qualify for the interview, I'm not bringing you on my team. I'm not looking for someone who can fog up a mirror and can make their watch who can look at their tell time and then fog up a mirror. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for someone who has a pulse. I'm looking for someone who has a vision, someone who has clarity. When you become clear on who you're looking to attract, you will change who and what shows up. This is the clarity. This is called the definite of purpose. But when you're unclear, you'll attract to your reality broken souls from broken homes who do not qualify for your business, but you will bring them into your business anyway because you are desperate. And when you're desperate, your vibrational energy is very low. It's down in anxiety, fear, and doubt. And in your desperation, you're operating in grief and apathy. As you begin to let go, Ashley, good to see you. Beth, good to see you. Michael, good to see you here this afternoon. I'm covering the psychology of selling. I'll spell selling for you. S-A-L-E-S. Here's how you spell selling. M-O-N-E-Y. Selling equals money. When you are skilled at sales, you are closing sales. When you are closing sales, money will move from either someone's credit card or some institutional bank or some situation over here, and it's going to move to either your company, either your corporation, or the company that you represent, eventually coming into your bank account. So you have to be skilled at the movement of money. And money moves through your ability, through persuasion. But if you have anxiety about selling, and you've been conditioned by an industry that we're not selling anything, we are just we're just good people, we're just sharing. Well, that doesn't qualify for free enterprise business. I mean, you're not sharing. You have products, services, benefits, and features, and you are bringing them to market. And you're asking people, do you see the value? Are you open to the possibility? Are you looking for? So in prospecting, it's asking-oriented marketing through fact-finding, rapport building, and small talk. Once again, it's a qualification process. It's just like a job interview, and it's conducted in a relaxed environment and a relaxed body. And there are people who just don't qualify it. I had someone recently who requested a 20-minute coaching call. I lasted 11 minutes because I asked her the same question 4 different ways. If I was your coach, what could I assist you with? Is there anything you'd like me to assist you with in this call? Is there any question you'd like to ask me? And I kept getting And so after 11 minutes and 39 seconds, I said, adios. And I said, if there's anything if you want to get back with me, feel free to reach out to me. I know that they're not going to be getting back to me. You also have to understand how people pathologically lie to you at the closing table. At the closing table, people are uncomfortable with creating a decision, deciding, or who have emotional challenges with money, will tell you stories about the future that will not happen. They will tell you haven't seen the last of me. I'm going to get back to you. Let me talk to my husband, the fireman, the dog catcher, someone down the street. You can tell when people are lying to you because you can hear their lips move. When you have sold as much as I have, or sold as much as you have, and you have an inner ear, in your inner ear, you're skilled at auditory skills. You're skilled with being able to to articulate your feelings, and you understand when you ask someone a qualifying question or a closing question and they give you an to start the sentence, they're going to tell you a story. The story is typically not true, although sometimes their objections are valid, and there's certain objections that you can't overcome. There's certain objections you ask another question, and then there's objections you just let the person go because they do not qualify for your time. I want you to focus on you giving top tips on selling the dream. Okay, so Michael asked a qualifying question. So selling the dream is lifestyle. When you are selling the dream, you're asking people, what are your dreams? I mean, why do you want to own a business? That's one of the number one questions. And when someone goes, I want to help people, you just disqualified for my time. Helping people is the Red Cross and the Salvation Army. And if you are down the rabbit hole, you know what those two organizations are fronts for something else. And if you're a conspiracist like me, you know that that's just a front. So you're not helping people is not why you're in business. You're in business for service, value, products, benefits, features, and you're in business to create profit. So if you have a corporation, an LLC, S Corp, you're in business for profit. It's not a nonprofit organization. You have a for-profit business. And so when you're selling the dream, you're asking people if they have any. What is the reason you want to own a business? Why do you want to quit your job? If money weren't an issue, what would you do with your time? If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you travel? If you could purchase a home anywhere in the United States, Canada, where would you purchase it? You are asking right brain questions. To sell the dream, you're asking questions that will lead people to intuition, extrasensory perception, creativity, innovation. You're asking them questions that incorporate a different brainwave state than the analytical egoic brain. You're asking them gamma brainwave questions where the body releases dimethyltryptamine, DMT. It's like when you take a bite of ice cream, it's that instant gratification, or a shot of vodka, or you hit that bong, or any of those things you used to do as an addict. Well, the same situation happens when you ask some people questions and they go into a dopamine release. And it's an aha feeling. So many people never ask them their dream questions. They never ask them why they want to do something. This is why so many people get stuck. The people that can answer the question qualify for your time. The people that don't have a clue typically don't qualify. That doesn't mean you don't enroll them, bring them in your team, but these are tells, Tells, telegraphs. They're telegraphing their feelings. So when you're selling the dream, you're asking them lifestyle questions. You may also let them know what the opportunity that you are in or the business that you have started, what it's allowed you to do, as long as you're not over the top about it or flaunting it or coming across very egotistic about it. But you can also say what the product's done for you, what the business has done for you, what the opportunity has done for other people in your team, circle of influence, etc. Because what you're selling ultimately is the good life. And so you are selling the dream, and you're conveying that with possibility marketing. The possibilities, the probability, the opportunity. I mean, this is what you're selling. So I used to follow way back in the days, Burke Hedges. Michael, you might remember him. Burke Hedges, he wrote the book, Who Stole the American Dream. It was a little book. Amway used it in the 80s. Burke Hedges was in NSA. I knew him 100 years ago. Shared the stage with him on a couple of occasions. He wrote the book, the Pipeline Parable, had his own publishing company, and was very instrumental in me writing my first book called More Heart Than Talent. He told me I should write a book, offered to publish it, but I ended up self-publishing myself. But Burke used to have a video VHS, Who Stole the American Dream? And that was the whole VHS was about that, living the good life, the dream, living life on your terms. Have you ever considered what it would feel like to be free of debt? So you're asking felt questions when you're selling the dream. You don't ask them thought questions. That's left brain. When you're selling the dream, you're directing your energy at their creativity, their innovation, their clarity, their vision, their dream board. You're asking them about their dreams. If money weren't an issue and you could walk into any car dealership in the world, what would you purchase? Well, some people aren't car people, but you have to be able to find their hot buttons by fact-finding, rapport building, and small talk. And when you do that, and when you are selling, here are key components and skills of selling. You're a very skilled listener. That means you have auditory skills. You're able to hear what people mean, not what they say. And through repetition and experience, you're going to hear the same situation over and over and over. And you become very attentive to this so that you hear what is meant along with what is said, so that you can differentiate between fact and fiction. So you can tell, is this a prospect or a suspect? Is this someone who doesn't qualify my time, or they do qualify for my time? And in that situation, you stay in the conversation. And the whole term fortune in the follow-up, following up with people, friends first, all these other wives' tales that I've heard for years don't apply when you're skilled at prospecting. You can be friendly with people, but you don't have to be their friend for them to walk into a car dealership and buy a Glendawagon. So, I mean, I can dispel that myth any day. So, if you're a car salesman, can you only sell to friends, or can someone walk off the street that has no idea who you are and buy a Glendawagon from you, or a $350,000 or a $500,000 vehicle? Do I have to be your friend to sell you a $4 million home? Or can you see the listing of my home, walk onto the property, and write a check for it? Well, the answer is you can write a check for it. And I'm not going to buy from you. We're not friends. I have to get to know you before I buy. Now, in some situations, that is applicable. And also, you don't go for the jugular when you're marketing online either. There is places that you are creating relationships, but you have to get this out of your head. You don't have to be friends with someone for them to buy from you, because people buy emotionally. Now, you can be skilled at the conversation. You can warm the prospect up. You can have a relaxed conversation. You can begin to connect, and they will buy from you. If you're rude, narcissistic, abrasive, well, you will have challenges being able to connect and collaborate with people. But if you're warm, friendly, engaging, and have a good personality, you have a high probability of being able to connect with people. So Michael said books online for $5.73. That's correct. Buy Who Stole the American Dream, Michael. I have a couple copies of it. Also buy The Pipeline Parable. It's right over there on my shelf. I've had it for 25 plus years. My favorite sales book that I own is a book called The Bestseller. I'll get it for you. Right here, I've had this book since the 90s. D. Forbes Lay, right there. This is the author, D. Forbes Lay. And in 1998, I went to his. He died in the 90s, and I looked up his wife. This is way back in the day, but I found his wife online, and I bought all of his newsletters. So he had an estate. I bought his estate of newsletters that he published. Then I had my assistant take his newsletters, and we used some of his content and then incorporated in my, back then they were called an e-zine. Michael, you might remember that, an e-zine. Jim Rohn used to have an e-zine, and Kyle Wilson used to write it, and Kyle Wilson was my lifelong friend. So here you go, ladies and gentlemen, the best sales book I have ever owned. This is called The Bestseller, D. Forbes Lay, classic content. And he also breaks down the personalities in here. What's interesting, this is the only book this guy ever wrote. I've had this since 1996. My best content that I ever produced in my life on selling is right here, Psychology of Asking. My signature product, I sold over 100,000 units of this product between 2003 and 2013. Over 100,000 of these bad boys right here. Psychology of Closing. Crushed it. But this, now, if you're my coaching client, you have both these in your back office on download, along with multiple other products. I've been teaching sales skills since 1991. And when I started building my Herbalife business, I would teach my team closing skills. I would teach them how to close a three-way call. If you brought your teammate to me on a three-way call, you would not be in a 45-minute drunk-a-log with me. You would be in a 5, 10, 15-minute conversation where I would show you, my teammate, how to close that sale. You would edify me. I would edify you. I would talk to the prospect. I would fact-find with the prospect through warmth, sincerity, and I would find out what they were looking for. They would have to be through a presentation, or I wouldn't talk to them. You couldn't bring some broke prospect to me and expect me to pitch the deal. You would bring me a prospect who had been through the process, and I would teach you, my teammate, how to close that sale. I mean, I've closed thousands of sales doing that, taught it, and had over 25 people in my team between 1996 and 1998 achieve 6 figures from the comfort of their home in a direct sales business, teaching selling skills, prospecting skills, closing skills, marketing skills, lead generation, how to effectively qualify a prospect for your time in anywhere between 30 seconds and 3 minutes. That's the qualification process. And then how to close a sale on a 1-call close, 2-call close, 3-call close. And in network marketing, direct sales, I seldom ever spent more than 1, 2, or 3 conversations with someone unless it was an isolated incident and I was doing some level of follow-up with someone who had some influence or affluence. D Forbes, and that's L-E-Y right here. D Forbes L-E-Y. Got it. That is it, Michael. Tier content. My name is Jeffery Combs. Breathe, release, and let go. Dr. Rachel, good to see you this afternoon. Kevin Clinton, always an honor to share space with you, Kevin. I'll never forget the picture we took back in the day in Fort Lauderdale. That is Kevin Clinton Paulson, who's been following me since 2000. That is right. Kevin has followed me for over 25 years, my Wisconsin homeboy. Have an exceptional afternoon. I'll be back online here tonight at 9 p.m. Give me a follow over on Instagram. That's where my best content is. My shortest videos are on Instagram. They stay up there. I crush it over there. So breathe, release, and let go in a relaxed body. Have a great afternoon, everyone.